We're at the Toledo Speedway for the third race of the AST Voltson Super Trucks 2015 season today. Last week at Flat Rock, there was one penalty handed out after the race. Kevin Thompson had 10 points removed from his championship standings after wrecking Amberly Weiss. Today's race will also be the final race of the season for Jason Miller until Terre Haute in about 2 months and 6 races time. So after winning the first 2 races of the season, we're going to have to see how Miller will do here at Toledo today, as well as the 18 other drivers who will be taking the green. On pole position for today is Daryl Quick in the 82 truck, and on his outside is Hunter Blaze in the 71, who won the pole for this race last year. So the second year in a row that Blaze starts in the front row at this track. These 2 drivers also finished in the top 3 in last year's race. Chris Washer not starting today, he did win last year's event. Towards the back of the field, we have one of the 3 hometown drivers, Zach Churchill. Something's going to go wrong with his truck on lap number 2, and he almost takes out Mike Ramos. Fortunately, everybody behind him is going to get around him without any contact, although many drivers are going to be held up. Churchill heading for the pits, and Gordon Davis is following him. Something must be wrong with the 32 truck as well. There was a right front tire down on Churchill's truck, but we don't know what went wrong with Davis. Both of them would rejoin the race. As Quick begins to open up an early lead, Amberly Weiss, who we just mentioned in the pre-race got wrecked last week at Flat Rock, started in third and has already moved up into second. But Hunter Blaze, again, seems to do exceptionally well at this track. The Ohio native takes the second spot back, and Weiss would not be done facing challenges from other drivers. Nancy Keith and Allison Ashburn come at her now, and in a 3-wide move, they're both going to get by, but Keith leaves the bottom open for Ashburn. The rookie in the 4 truck is going to try and take the third spot, and she's receiving help from Jason Miller. Miller didn't start as close to the front as he has the last 2 races, but he is making his way there very quickly. As Churchill and Davis exit the pits, they are now multiple laps down, but are both still on pace with the leaders. They still will be, that is, once they rejoin the track. And they picked a rather inconvenient time to rejoin. Not that that's their fault, but they just happened to merge right in front of Daryl Quick and Hunter Blaze. The 2 leaders are going to get around them without any problems. That is until Gordon Davis decides that it'll be a good idea to try to get by Churchill. That is for position, but he's going to make it 3 wide with Blaze, the second place runner, and put both of them in the outside wall. Blaze goes around on the front stretch, and there's a big crash right in front of the whole field. Jason Miller, Hunter Blaze, Amberly Weiss all got big pieces of that. Other cars were involved as well, as Gordon Davis tried to pass Zach Churchill on the inside, but he moved up the track too high. It was not a very good idea to begin with that he made that move at all, but he pushed up the track in turn 4, and in a 3-wide situation, there was not any room to do that. Blaze gets hit by Jason Miller, who again was on his way to the front. Amberly Weiss and Allison Ashburn also got some damage. Weiss smashed into Blaze's truck while it was facing backwards. As we take another look at this, there's Blaze being stuffed into the wall by Churchill. That was not Churchill's fault at all. Miller hits the back of the protruding 71 truck and goes spinning across the front of his teammate Danny Vigo. And there's Miller trying to get his car turned around. We're going to go on board Allison Ashburn in the 4 truck here. There's the 71 and the 84 going around right in front of her. She gets slowed down, but not quite in time to avoid them. There were trucks to her left and the outside retaining wall to her right, and she had no choice but to run into the 71 and the 84. Daryl Quick drifts very high in turn 2 on the restart. Danny Vigo bounces off the side of the 82 and down into the left car of Churchill. The leaders very nearly wrecked himself 1 turn after the restart, but the mistake is especially going to cost Daryl Quick. Again, wrecking would have been much worse, but he is still going to lose the lead as Danny Vigo takes the top spot. Kevin Thompson was not involved in that first caution, but he pitted anyways in the hopes of improving the handling of his truck. And there's a few trucks in the outside wall in front of him. There's a crash in turn 4. That's Alex Martinez and Zach Churchill, and I think someone else may have been involved in that. Here's a look at what happened. Alex Martinez moves down into the door of Nancy Keith, turns her up the track, and she gets into the back of Churchill. That again was not Zach Churchill's fault, and it's not going to inflict too much damage upon his truck, but it is definitely going to set back Alex Martinez and Nancy Keith. Onboard Allison Ashburn, as she is once again right behind trouble when it strikes. Fortunately for her this time, she's not going to get any damage. The third position is currently being held by the 57 truck of Danella Jacobson. This is the third race of her rookie season, and of her career, of course, but she's about to be passed for that position by Mike Ramos in the 23. The The Sutton Racing team hasn't had a run this good since last year at Galesburg, but they're showing a lot of speed here today as Ramos moves into third. Michael McKinley trying to get past Jacobson as well. And right behind them, another driver working his way towards the front is Hunter Blaze in the 71. He's of course been one of the fastest trucks all weekend here, but after getting so much damage in the lap 7 accident, you would think that he would be off the pace. But for the second week in a row, he is defying the odds and storming his way through the field after being caught up in a crash. He's already getting close to the top 5. Further back in the field, Brianna Prinzhorn is not having a very good run at her home racetrack. She gets into the back of Alex Martinez, gets loose, and comes back up the track right in front of Jason Miller and smashes into the outside wall in turn 3. She tried to correct that car, and unfortunately for her, Miller just happened to be there. And that is a nasty hit to the outside wall. She's actually going to drive it back to the pits somehow, but Jason Miller had nowhere to go on board the 40 truck right now. A bad day for him gets worse as he goes into the outside wall as well. So Miller definitely not going to win 3 in a row here today. But at the other end of the field is his teammate Vigo, who continues to lead on the restart. Michael McKinley tries to get by Mike Ramos on the inside of turns 1 and 2, and Daryl Quick hits the wall in front of them. That's the second restart in a row in which he's done so, and that's definitely going to hurt his efforts to chase down Vigo for the lead. McKinley's going to get around Ramos, and he's going to bring Jacobson around the inside of the 23 with him, and now he's got the 82 right in front of him. Vigo, however, is not getting away from them either because he's being held up by Gordon Davis. I'm sure Davis is in enough trouble with the officials today after causing that first accident, and now he is holding up Vigo and allowing Quick, McKinley, and the others to chase him back down again. The 80 truck finally gets to the inside of the 32, but he is still not giving him any slack at all. Hunter Blaze has not slowed down at all, as now he's going to get by McKinley and become the first driver to pass the 99M in quite some time. And he's now all the way back up into third. And now as Quick drifts high in turn 2 again, just barely grazing the outside wall, he's going to take back the second position. Blaze is now running in the same spot where he was when he got wrecked on lap 7. And now only one more car is between him and the lead, the 80 truck of Danny Vigo. The teammate to Jason Miller, another Terre Haute Action Track driver, didn't do so well in MIS but finished third at Flat Rock, and is leading the race here today. The Operation JM trucks, still very, very strong. As we approach the end of this race, one of the biggest surprises is turning out to be this 61 truck of Wilson Timothy. He's very quietly been running in the middle of the field all day, but it seems that the 61 truck has acquired some afterburners because he is already up into third as he gets around Michael McKinley. Without much effort, McKinley, one of the top drivers of the series, as well as Daryl Quick, the defending champion, the 61 Binford Racing Tools team having a very good run towards the end of this race. The battle for 9th is on between Mary Brousseau and Jack Clark. As Clark gets around the 25, there's a crash in the front stretch. That's McKinley around. Gordon Davis is spinning down the track as well. What happened there? McKinley drifts up into Davis as he tries to get by him in turn 4. That was actually not Davis's fault, even though he probably shouldn't have been up there with the leaders anyway. McKinley definitely overdrives the turn and puts himself in the outside wall. Whoa, Alex Martinez. Very, very close to running into the back of the 99M. That is going to take Michael McKinley out of the race with 3 laps to go and force the race to end under caution. Jason Miller is going to win the race for the 3rd time in a row, not as a driver this week, but as a team owner. Danny Vigo goes to victory lane in the number 80 Vigo Design SAR, the 3rd race of the season, and the 3rd one won by Jason Miller's team. Once again, as they continue to dominate in their 1st season of the series. Hunter Blaze, a very strong run, one of the most impressive that I've ever seen, as he comes all the way back up to 2nd. Wilson Timothy in 3rd place, a very good run for the 61 truck. Daryl Quick, despite hitting the wall multiple times throughout the day, settles for 4th. Mike Ramos finishes in 5th, that's the first top 5 of his career. Daniela Jacobson finishes in 6th. It's only her 3rd race, but that's her best career finish. Alex Martinez, after getting into the wall earlier, finishes in 9th. Jack Clark, the highest finishing Toledo Speedway drivers, in 8th. Mary Brousseau in 9th. And another quiet one for John White. The 06 truck rounds out the top 10.